welcome to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Holly is all excited because we are getting excited for the weekend and the holiday, and you've got some big travel plans coming up. But of course, we've got to get everybody ready for their big travel plans and their big day, and we will do that. And the one person who has the biggest travel plan is already on his trip. Right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, Santa.
Yeah, we're going. We are going to be keeping an eye on Santa as well because, of course, we have some pretty good friends over at NORAD who like to track everything that that big man does. In fact, we've been celebrating 70 years since tracking of Santa's Christmas trip began around the world. It's kind of a holiday tradition at this point, thanks to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, or NORAD, as it is now known. It's based out of Peterson Space Force Base in Colorado Springs, excuse me. They use a combination of radar and satellites to follow Santa's progress as he delivers presents on the big day. Kind of takes a whole army, though, more than 1,000 folks and volunteers to answer all those calls that are coming in from across the world from people looking for an update on where St. Nicholas is. Last year, more than 380,000 people called the hotline.
Yeah, but let's see where Santa is right now. Look at him. We're looking at the NORAD Santa tracker here. St. Nick is currently, where is he
Yeah, it's a tough call from just over top, and it looks like he's going over some mountain range right there. We'll have to kind of dig a little deeper and find out his exact location, but he's over 1 billion gifts now so far for good boys and good girls across the world.
Yeah, so there is no exact time on where he'll get or when he'll get here to Milwaukee. You see, we're keeping an eye on it. It's hard to see, but just make sure you get a good night's rest because he knows when you're awake.
That's right. Knows if you've been bad or good. Right? You know the song.
Be good, be safe.
There you go. She's got it. All right, well, let's shift gears here a little bit because while Santa, of course, can get through anything weather-wise, we, the regular human folks, struggle a little bit. We mortals, I suppose. An atmospheric river is really pounding away. It's expected to pummel Southern California for Christmas week and Christmas weekend. Mandatory evacuation orders have been posted across Los Angeles, Orange County, Ventura County. The burn scars, that's what's left after a wildfire. So the burn scars in the Palisades and the Altadena regions, they're the area of particular concern. The storm is projected to bring an immediate threat to homes, roads, and overall safety. Officials are urging holiday travelers to reconsider their plans in that area. Wow, more than 6 million people actually in the Los Angeles area are under weather alerts as this atmospheric river continues to hit the state of California. The storm is projected to be an immediate threat, of course, to homes, roads, overall safety. Mandatory evacuation orders, as we mentioned, have been posted. The burn scars are a big concern, Holly, because of the impact they have on the area and how that leads to more significant runoff. It can lead to more significant mudslides and rock slides. We're going to keep an eye on that for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And now we're on to Orange County, too. So where they have mandatory evacuations that begin today for areas that were damaged by the wildfires, that's the biggest concern. Well, the biggest concern isn't the rainfall, which in some areas could approach about 10 inches, but it's the potential for the continuous intense downpours. Now, that could trigger flash flood as well as dangerous debris flows.
It's hard to tell people, hey, you got to go, right? And it's also hard to tell people, hey, if you don't go, you're putting yourself in a really tough spot.
When they start talking atmospheric rivers, it kind of freaks me out.
Yeah, so people are, it freaks me out too.
Yeah, for sure. It's an intense system, and it's going to be very challenging for that area already impacted by the wildfires.
Yeah, so people are preparing for the storm in Pacific Palisades. That's where January's fire took place pretty much took out thousands of homes and other structures. The Pacific Coast Highway is expected to remain open through crews will be monitoring it for possible mudslides.
All right, yeah, the classic Pacific Coast Highway, of course. A lot of folks have, they've had like bucket lists to go ride on that if you're a motorcyclist or drive on that. So obviously an impact for a lot of folks here at home as well. We'll keep an eye on that story. Let's switch gears to snow now. More snow expected by Christmas in the Sierras, of course, directly connected to that river as well at the higher elevations. Forecasts are calling for up to 4 feet 4 feet of snow through
Wow.
Sunday. Great news for folks like that with the skiers and the snowboarders. They're pretty happy. So this will go through Sunday. The Sierra Resort's obviously pretty happy about it. They've already suffered through a mostly dry December, so this is actually kind of good news for them. Palisades sent us this video saying it will be open with more lifts and terrain on Saturday. Sierra Ski Resort consultant Kevin Cooper says crews will be working around the clock at all the different resorts. We've had Coop on the show before a few times. He's a hoot and obviously a really intense. I don't know, intense expert sounds like a weird way to say it, but he really knows his stuff. He's an expert on all these things and is the go-to guy when it comes to those hills and the forecasts up there. So if he says it's a good thing,
Then
we
it's a
can
good
trust
thing.
Coop for sure.
Yeah, then it's a good thing. Okay, well, look, check this out. So there is a winter weather alert in the Northeast as well. Snow is sweeping
Look at
across.
these flakes. Oh
Yeah,
my
they're
gosh.
so fluffy and big.
Yeah.
Looks so familiar. We've had them here. That snow is sweeping across parts of Newark, New Jersey. That's the area yesterday. This video was shot in Bloomfield as the National Weather Service warned residents to watch for reduced visibilities and slick conditions. But it's not going to be a white Christmas. Temperatures are warming back up in the 40s today and tomorrow.
Yeah, so they got the snow and then it went away, or it's in the process of disappearing as those temperatures come back up. A blanket of snow, though, was at least briefly covering the ground in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The residents at the John Ball Zoo there didn't really seem to mind. They look pretty happy. Frosty conditions were okay by them. The facility's animals can be seen enjoying a winter wonderland in their enclosures just in time for Christmas. Video shared by the zoo shows the leopards, the otters, and a whole bunch more just out there frolicking in that fresh snow. And before we look ahead with Holly and the regional forecast, I want to look back to this date in 1961 when southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois were digging out from under between the evening of Friday, December 22nd, 1961, and the evening of Saturday, December 23rd. Almost a foot, 11.6 inches of snow accumulated at Midway Airport. The snow continued right on through Christmas Eve and into Christmas Day, resulting in a white Christmas for Chicago and for a lot of southern Wisconsin. But that was 1961.
Wow.
So yeah, that's a little bit a ways back, and unfortunately, flash forward some 65 years, and it is not going to be a white Christmas.
It's not, which we had one last year, so at least we've had one within the past 5 years.
There you go.
We had one last
I like
year.
you're
which was
positive about
nice.
it too. That's a good way to look at it. All right, let's go kick off our regional forecast, see what people can expect for the holidays.
All right, this is a bigger look at the picture across the country, you guys, and we've talked about what's going on as far as our area here. We're really going to be one of the drier areas as well as the south. They're going to be dry as well, but we do have some commotion going on both of the sides of the coast here. So we're looking more at the northeastern coast. This was the leftover snow from what they've already seen, and now they're going to be warming up with their temperatures. But we do see the start of more of an atmospheric river over on the west coast. So the northeast was dealing with a little bit more of the snow. That's pretty much starting to diminish at this point, and they're just left with that blanket. It's such a beautiful look, but it won't be snowing on Christmas for them. But they're going to have a lot of rain on the west coast. We do see some areas, though, especially Northern California, where they're going to be seeing some snow, and all of this is a part of that atmospheric river. And this brings us to even looking at some of the headlines that they have. They have flood watches that are going to be in effect until Friday, and that's going to be pretty much because they have multiple rounds of unexpected rain, meaning they're going to get pounded with all of this rain, and that's what we've been talking about and just the stories ahead of this regional forecast. So if you are traveling to California for Christmas, definitely keep in mind that you're going to be dealing with some flood headlines as well as even, too, some wind headlines. They do have some wind advisories in place, a high wind watch in place, and then they also have high wind warnings in place. So definitely just proceed with caution. Be sure to prepare and give yourself enough time, especially with traveling, and prepare for delays if you are heading to California. Right now, that's the area that has the busiest weather overall. Now we look at some of those winter weather headlines too. So they have rain and flood watches also in the same state with winter headlines here. So we're seeing a little bit more of the storm warnings. So they have winter storm warnings that are pretty much in the northern portion of California. So they got a lot going on in California. So again, if you're headed there, just give yourself enough time with your plans. And also too, don't be alarmed if your flight could be delayed or it could be canceled until some of that clears out. But for everybody else across the country, we are overall looking pretty good here, especially in the Midwest as we bring it closer to home. We do see a little bit more of that snow just north of Marquette, and that's looking to be a little bit more of the lake effect snow for them. We're seeing a little bit of that in their area, but everybody else is just dealing with the clouds. So it is still going to be gloomy here. It's going to not be as sunny, so it's not going to feel like a summer Christmas. It's still going to be gloomy and cloudy where it's going to still feel or look like winter rather. But the only thing is it's going to be warm, you guys, and we'll get some showers that could even move in tonight. We look ahead here on our Sky Vision, and this is going to be for the entire state of what you can expect. Overall, though, as we head throughout the afternoon time, wind across the state is going to be overall light, very light winds. So we don't have to worry about wind advisories or anything like that. We do have to focus on a little bit more of the rain that's going to be moving into the area. This is around 6 p.m. At least for the southern half of Wisconsin and even northern Illinois, we'll have a little bit more of that rain. Could make for a messy commute, but I don't believe it's going to tamper with any of travel plans that people may have. It's just light rain. It's not anything that we can't handle. Now, as we make it to midnight, most of that is going to be out of here. Maybe a few sprinkles left behind. We still will have a lot more of those clouds for the southern half of the state of Wisconsin. Northern half, we'll start to see some clearing in the skies, at least for a brief period overnight. Now, as we head into early Christmas morning, it's going to be cloudy across the state again. So the clouds really are not going to leave. I don't know who asked for clouds on their Christmas list, but you're getting exactly what you're wanting here with the clouds, because this is statewide is what we're going to be seeing. Now, as we make it towards Christmas evening across the state, we're going to be seeing different things. Some areas will get a white Christmas, in fact, or they will get a little bit of that snow, especially for the northern half of the state. They'll see a little bit more of the snow. For the southern half and even southeast Wisconsin here, we'll get more of a rain to snow mix that could start on late Christmas night into early Friday. So as we go into the overnight hours, you'll definitely see some of that snow that was snow turn into more of a mix, and that's for the northern communities. For the southern communities, we will keep it with rain as we will have warmer temperatures. Wind speeds will also kind of be enhanced as well overnight going into early Friday morning. Now, as we make it to Friday morning, most of the rain will push out of the area for the southern half. The snow mix is going to kind of stay present there at least for a couple of hours before that clears out. So at least by the time we make it to Friday afternoon, we should all really be steering clear from some of the rain and snow mix, but we'll prepare for another round, especially on Saturday night. We look at our Midwest forecasted high temperatures for today. We're all going to warm up or be warmer than what we were as well. So we're looking at 30 degrees for all of the northern communities there, 30 for a high in Bismarck as well as Duluth and even Marquette. Here in Milwaukee, we're going to get up to the 40s. Yesterday, we were at 48 degrees in Milwaukee for a high. Today, we're going to get around 42, 46 in Chicago. And then look at that, 60s. 60s for some of those southern areas. And then the 70s out there. 70 in North Platte for a high today, 64 in Kansas City. And then St. Louis will check in at 66. Here's a look at the temperatures and wind chills over the next couple of days. We're going to stay in the 40s overall with our temperatures, but we could get a little bit more of the lighter winds, so that could make it feel a little bit cooler out there, but overall it's going to feel better than what we've had. I can't forget the negative 30 wind chill that I saw in Sheboygan. So seeing this is just like, oh yeah, not too bad, not too bad. So Wednesday, that's today, we'll have wind chills in the 30s, and then as we head towards Thursday, wind chills will drop to the 20s, kind of like a roller coaster ride here with those wind chills, because it'll feel a little bit warmer as we head into Friday's forecast. But here's a look beyond Friday as we head into the weekend and the start of next week. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be right at the peak on Saturday. Saturday is going to be our warmest day, mid 40s. So we know what that feels like, really warm. And then from there, temperatures will be dropping. And Honestly, it's going to probably feel like winter to everybody at that point, Rob. I mean, 20 degrees for a high on Monday, and that's when I return. I'm going to be in for a rude awakening there.
When you come back from the south, you're supposed to bring warm air back.
I know. It seems like they know that I'm leaving to go to warmer air. They're like, okay, we can give some warmer air.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. And that is going to be a big, abrupt change. Like you said, it's going to feel like winter again all of a sudden by Sunday night, even Sunday afternoon, and then certainly into Monday as well. All right, Milwaukee city leaders, speaking of heating, they're sounding the alarm about a spike in heating issues. They say they've responded to more than 300 cases of little to no heating across the city in about 5 weeks' time.
Landlords have a responsibility to make sure that the units that they're renting are safe and are habitable and have heat for the people who live in those locations. And we don't want people to resort to alternative methods in order to heat their dwelling spaces, because that poses fire risks as well.
So the Department of Neighborhood Services says if you are a tenant experiencing heating problems, contact your property manager. If they don't get back to you within 48 hours, DHS says it's time to call them so that they can help you out. Probably best to deal with it on the next couple of days when it's not as bad. I mean, obviously, no one wants a house without heat in the winter, no matter what the outside temperature is, but hopefully deal with it before the temperatures drop off again late Sunday into Monday. We'll drop off, but just for a couple of minutes, then we'll be right back, and we're going to continue our deep dive into Wisconsin weather experts. All right, welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts right here on Fox Local and, of course, the FOX6 YouTube channel. Make sure you click subscribe if you are watching us via YouTube so you never lose touch with everything we post up on there. Now, we've obviously been talking a lot about the seasons. We officially got to the winter solstice recently. So now I want to take in a little bit of a deep dive into what exactly are meant by our changing seasons. Holly?
Right. So winter solstice, it started about 3 days ago, guys, and these are have been really the warmest days for us for it to be the first day of winter. You would think that the cold temperatures we saw last week were winter already. Well, not necessarily. We are now officially in winter. Really, December 21st was the start. That was the first day. And so what that means, it's got a lot to do with where the sun is placed. So the center of the sun is really directly above the Tropic of Cancer. So you see where this arrow is and this line, that is where the center of the sun is. Well, you know that we're in the northern hemisphere, which is on the northern half of the equator. So we're in the northern hemisphere. So during the winter solstice, the reason why our temperatures are so cold is because we're getting shorter days, meaning we're not getting the direct sunshine that we get in summer where the days are longer. We kind of switch places with the southern hemisphere. So you can almost imagine, okay, when we're in wintertime, the southern hemisphere is basically in summer. So once we get to summer, that's when we're going to switch places with the southern hemisphere, and then they'll be in winter, or their temperatures will be a little bit cooler than ours. Now, this is just another thing for you to look at as far as the amount of daylight. So our shorter days for the northern hemisphere, that means that we're going to be somewhere in between 0 to 10.5 hours for our daylight when we're in winter. However, whenever we're in summer, we're seeing technically almost about 12 to 13 hours of sunlight. So we definitely, haven't received that in a while. We're probably somewhere in between, I would say maybe about, give or take, I say 7 to 9 hours for our area of sunlight here. And then as you look for the equator, especially during winter, they're seeing 12 hours, so that at least half of their days. But we go all the way down to the Arctic Circle. Now, this is unbelievable. 24 hours of daylight for the Antarctic Circle. And when I think of Antarctic, I'm thinking of snow all the time, not really thinking of daylight all the time. But yeah, Antarctic Circle receives 24 hours of sunlight, Tropic of Capricorn, 13.5 hours. So we're definitely on the lower spectrum of things, Rob. But overall with winter, you know, it's something that I feel like is vital. Finally living somewhere where they have a winter, I feel like winter is needed.
Oh, absolutely. It makes us appreciate spring, summer, fall just that much more by suffering through the winter. And a lot of folks here, you know, this is their season. They love it. They have the snowmobiles going, they got the skis going, the toboggan, whatever the case may be, pond hockey, you do your thing. But I think there is something to be said about experiencing winter, making, you know, the rest of the year feel that much better. And it is fascinating to know that the Antarctic right now is getting 24 hours of sun. Of course, on the other side, when we're getting more sunshine, the Arctic will eventually see 24 hours of sun as well, because we, you know, the things will flip when it comes to the tilt of the Earth. Not the actual Earth will. I'm saying that the scenario flips, not the actual planet. Don't panic. But I bring this up. I have a very good friend who was best man at my wedding. He lives up north of the Arctic Circle. He lives on Baffin Island. He works for the Canadian government up there. And I've talked to him a lot about this because he's in these 0 hours of sunlight right now. And he does say that it's a very big challenge, but he gets paid for back at the other side when he gets 24 hours of sunshine. Anyway, little personal aside story. Speaking of personal aside stories, we're going to take you on one right now here in a little bit. Christmas, of course, is just hours away, and well-known traditions are, you know, helping to ring in the holidays. Santa is apparently ditching the cold weather this year and scuba diving in the Florida Keys. See, Santa can do everything. He can be on that sleigh and scuba diving all at the same time. St. Nick took his annual holiday plunge in the crystal clear waters of the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. He brought along his trusted underwater elves and mermaids. Of course he knows the mermaids, just to see all the curious marine life down there. Now, from Santa in the water to meteorologist Tom Lux in the water, here's an explanation of why certain areas of the ocean are just a little more blue.
All right, I'm gonna try not to drop my phone. Here I am in the beautiful waters of the Atlantic Ocean on the north side of the island of Anguilla, as it's getting deeper here in the ocean. But look at this water. What makes this water so amazingly turquoise blue? Well, the answer to that is a couple of reasons. Number one, turn around. The sun has to do with it, and the amazingly clear water of the ocean here, and this includes the Caribbean as well. You may notice the Bahamas has this brilliant blue color. Well, there's more here, and that has to do with the fact that there's no phytoplankton in this ocean, or this part of the Atlantic Ocean, and those are microscopic algae that will change the color of the ocean. So without that, plus the most beautiful sand I've ever been on, this white, beautiful sand is reflecting, of course, off of the sunlight. So all of that is giving it this beautiful color as I'm riding the waves here in the ocean. But again, sunlight, lack of microscopic algae, known as phytoplankton, and the beautiful white sand all contribute to the gorgeous colors here in the warm Atlantic.
All right, welcome back, you guys, for tuning in, whether it's Fox Local or even on our YouTube. We are so glad that you're here to join us today. And if you have any questions, always buzz us.
Yeah, let us know. And we're going to leave you with another quick check on Santa. Oh, out over the open waters. He's got to be getting closer to North America. Merry Christmas. We'll take a break for the holiday, and we'll see you on the day after.